Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to the Wealthy LaLa Show with myself, Laurie Laursen. Oh, how are you guys doing today? I'm super excited about this show. This is episode 142. Yeah, I know. If you listen to yesterday's show was a little bit of a struggle. I needed to show up for me, and I actually did the show in the middle of the night when I wasn't able to sleep because I had some like serious jaw, face, neck pain. And I could have replayed an old show. I could have, and something within me just said, go ahead and share this anyways. And yeah, and it brings me to today. And you know what I really want to talk about is um, when we're in some kind of emotional or physical um, pain, okay, or we're in some kind of suffering, what I'm here to be and do for myself and others is to inspire and guide myself and others to find your happy, to find what's true for you, to find possibilities beyond the physical and emotional pain. Now, little did I know how much my keeping on choosing different things yesterday was actually creating such a wealth of information for myself. Now, as I said yesterday, so I had really bad pain in my face, jaw, neck. It was probably at least 8, 9 out of 10. And I actually, after I'd recorded the show a few hours later, I actually ended up going to emergency. So I live out in the country, so I have two smaller local hospitals. And on the weekends, they're just open with emergency. There's no walk-in clinics or whatever out here. So I actually got up, and it was one of those days too where, a lot of times I've always felt very comfortable doing those kind of things by myself. But I was really, really, really grateful that my husband, I just asked him, could you please come with me? I just really felt like I needed the moral support. Um, the pain and the intensity was just kind of taking me down. And, I'd asked for contributions from some friends. They were lovely. They were supported me energetically and through texts, and I was really, really grateful. And I sure just needed my hubby to come with me too. So off to the hospital we went. And really the whole point that I want to summarize up in this show, and I just want you guys to watch for, is what I kept choosing was ways to create relief in my world, no matter where I was at. Okay? Because when the pain and the intensity yesterday was at like an 8 or a 9, I'm not going to lie, it's really hard. When you lose someone that is your husband or your child or your partner for however long, when you have say a bad car accident or something like that, and you've broken your leg and you were just supposed to run in a marathon, or whatever would be emotionally and physically painful for you. It could be having lost your pet, or it could be like me, you had something in your body that's really painful. The thing that is going to help it change, and I know this beyond knowing this without a shadow of a doubt, yet I needed to find out the experience for myself. Like I've heard this probably hundreds of times. Um, and until I kind of just went, you know what, I've got to do this for me. And I remember saying that to myself yesterday in the heats of the moment of the intensity. I had to be that I needed to do this for myself. That may include others supporting me, like asking my husband to come with me for the drive to the hospital, but I needed to be the one to ask for it. So I needed to be the one that knew what I needed to the best that I could in that moment. And so we went to the hospital. I mean, it was so amazing. We basically walked right in. They had just had a rush. They were cleaning up from the rush. Um, we walked right in. The doctor looked at me. We were in and out of there. So it was a half an hour drive there, half an hour drive back. We were in and out of there in less than a half an hour. Lovely nurse dealt with, lovely doctor. He's a locum doctor who just works there on the weekends. And I was taken care of really well. Now, I was actually given a shot for morphine, and you know, that's what I actually needed to contribute to my body. And I did actually, as I've talked about in other shows, ask my body if it was light or heavy to receive it, and it was light. So the whole idea of receiving the morphine was to get relief, okay? So when you're in some kind of whatever pain you're in, you gotta find out. So watch your life. What are the kind of things that do create relief for you? You know, for me, sometimes it's cooking. Like if I get really anxious and worked up about something, you know, cooking is really going to help. Sometimes it's doing the dishes. Washing dishes for me is very therapeutic. It could be seeing a doctor, going to a hospital. It could be, which I also chose yesterday, was doing a meditation, you know, really, really sitting with it, seeing if there was any insight or awareness or intuitive hits that I got with that. Stay in question. What is right about this? Even though it doesn't feel like there could possibly be anything right about this, what is right about this? And can I find anything? The answer may not come right that second, but the more you can invite yourself to stay in question, I guarantee you something will show up. And this is where you want to create the relief, because the more you create the relief, the more that you create the space for it, the quicker that awareness, that intuitive hit can come to you. There were times that I needed to do the tapping yesterday. Sometimes the tapping was to tap and to find out if it was going to make a change in the pain. It could be, as I was yesterday, not wanting to go to the hospital. Like I had some resistance to it. You know, I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to have to wait there for very long. Because I know what it can be like in a rural hospital. Sometimes you can wait a couple hours. I mean, heck, when I went to the Edmonton Royal LaLa emergency back in November, I mean, it was 6 hours before I saw a doctor there. So I'm aware that that's a possibility. So I was tapping on that, because what happens is when we choose these different things, and like say for me with the tapping yesterday, you know, even though I don't want to go to the hospital, I deeply and completely care about myself. Even though I really don't want to go, I feel like I'm going to be a bother. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I don't want to show up to the hospital, you know, and I'm doing this while I tap on what they calls the karate chop point. Now, if you Google EFT, emotional freedom technique images, you'll come up with images that'll show you these points, karate chop points on the outside edge of your hand, where your palm. And then, you know, tap on the inside of the eyebrows and tap on the outside corners of the eye, then underneath the eye about an inch, and underneath the nose, and underneath, you know, in between the chin and the mouth. And then on the inside of the collarbone, about 4 inches underneath the arm, and then back to the top of the head. Now, there is also other techniques, there is also other ways, and there's other points you can add in, which I'm not going to get into in this show. But you can Google, man. Google is an amazing resource. And you know, that was actually something I utilized even during this, because I was taking Percocet and it wasn't working. And I was concerned that I was going to take too much. Now, what I noticed is that when a person is in a lot of pain like that, and I'm talking physical and emotional pain, I don't know about you guys, but I can't remember SHIT, okay? Well, like I can remember things, but I can't remember everything that a doctor or a friend or, you know, someone else or my awareness even shares with me. Sometimes I need to hear it a couple times, or I need to have it written down. And so even though my bottle of Percocet said you could take 1 or 2 every 6 hours, so basically 6 and 24 hours, I was still nervous about that. So I actually Googled online just to see what's the, you know, like a maximum dose. And it did say that that was an okay dose. Now, again, please, you guys, this is how I'm choosing it. You follow your own physician's, you know, advice on any of this. This is not anything that I recommend. I'm just telling you what I chose. And Oh, and the other thing that I also did too is I found what they have in Alberta is called the Capital Health Link. So it's a over the phone service that you can actually phone and find out what to do next. Now again, they can't give you prescription advice, but the nurses, the RNs, the registered nurses that support you, can encourage you or recommend either going to a hospital or going to a walk-in clinic, or they can say stay at home or try this. Um, there's a certain amount of information that they can give you, and or at least let whether to go in. And I was actually really, really happy because that's part of what encouraged me to go in when I did feel that point where I felt like I was being a bit of a bother with going into emergency. And that actually brought up another thing for me, is that somewhere in my world I bought that I shouldn't be one who can utilize these services. Like, that I am a bother, that I am annoying, that I shouldn't be, bothering a friend, I shouldn't bother the hospital, whatever. And that was actually something that I did do tapping on again too. And I could find from when I was younger situations that, I got that belief from. And that may have not have been what was implied or the information I was given when I was younger, but it was how I took it. And so I did some EFT around that too. Then the other things that you guys can do that I've done is, oh my God, YouTube's got great resources for watching funny videos. For, like, I love to again watch Dr. Joe Dispenza, and um, excuse me, I just find listening to his words of wisdom and how he talks about the body and how things get created in our body and how to assist ourselves out of them, out of, say, the pain and suffering of what's at least going on. Um, I find his videos really create that relief in my world. And then also there's a good standby, take a nap. Yeah, you could take a nap. A nap is always awesome. And when I was in the midst of all of this, one thing I was really, really grateful for was that I had lovely friends I could text and get contribution for, um, who were able to give me some suggestions of possibilities of what their awareness was of what was going on in my world. And some things were relevant and some things weren't. And but that in itself was such a gift too, because I find that I'm strengthening my awareness of what's actually true for me. And because I've done the same thing where someone will ask me a question and I'll give them what my awareness is, and they'll be like, no, no, that doesn't read for me. And I know in the past I've wanted to make myself wrong. Well, I might still on a weak moment still do that. Um, and what I noticed is, what if that's actually what was assisting them with their awareness? Like, and what was cool and right about it. Like, I just find that so fascinating. And it was really cool too, because I've talked about it, that I have all these different kind of oracle cards, and I have probably, I don't know, like 7 decks on my desk right now. And I was randomly picking them, and I was getting things like these beautiful cards from Colette Baron-Reid. I'll actually put the link in the show description on Podbean. They're spirit animal oracle cards. Oh gosh, I just love them. Um, and one I kept getting was the Badger Spirit, be fearless and bold. And another one I got was yesterday was the Chameleon Spirit, act as if. And what I got with the Badger one was, the Badger Spirit rejoices at your persistence and commitment to what's true for you. Whatever you seek, your tenacity and faith in your partnership with Spirit is paying off, and results will soon coalesce into form in your world. The gift of Badger Spirit is surety that taking a risk now, being courageous and fearless will hold and bold will yield wondrous results. And what I'm getting, it says, no matter what temporary outer conditions, you will manifest your desires in divine timing and in the form that Spirit deems best for you. The Badger Spirit says you have what it takes to get what you want. So assert yourself, be fearless, be bold, shining your light as your purpose calls you into the world. And, I just kind of wanted to say that what I keep getting and kept getting was don't stop, keep being courageous. You're on the right path. So even though I was feeling really sucky with an 8, 9 out of 10 of pain yesterday, I kept pulling out all these resources and was getting, yeses from the universe. And I was also at the same time, universe, if this is creating greater in my life, all of what is going on, please show me. And being willing to receive that from the universe too. And when I woke up this morning, I mean, I feel so much better. I would say it's probably a 5 out of 10 today, but I'm so aware that it's changed now. Like something throughout the night, my choices, my tenacity to not stop, to keep going, to allow myself to receive from friends, from medication, from essential oils, from meditating, from the hospital, from staying in question, from tapping, watching videos, taking naps, all of that has contributed my willingness to keep going. So, oh my gosh, we are at time already. I adore you guys. Thank you so much again for listening. And I look forward to chatting with you on the next episode of the Wealthy LaLa Show with myself, Laurie Laursen. So big hugs to you guys and have an amazing day. And start making a list of the things that create relief in your world so that when you're in the midst of intensity, however that shows up, or emotional or physical pain in your life, that you've got a great resource written down. All right. And that you can look at. Take care. Big hugs.